Welcome to the Cash Flow Company. We're going to talk about getting out of a bad situation. A lot of times in this business, we see a lot of people get trapped. We're trapped in a cycle that they just can't get out of. We work with a lot of clients who get trapped in a cycle like this, and we show them the simple way of getting out of this cycle that a lot of real estate investors get into, how to fix it, and how to fix it permanently so they don't go back in. I want to go through a real example. We get calls like this almost daily. We help people out weekly with the same thing. We have a client who called in. They were going for a DSCR loan. They owned a property free and clear except all the repairs they put on their personal credit cards. They ran them up to over $40,000. So they went to get a refinance of up to $210,000 on this property that was worth over $300,000. The LTV looked good. Everything looked good. They actually got pre-qualified before they did all the work and got the tenants in the property. What happened is when they went to refinance, they have now found that their points, the amount that they would have to pay to close a loan, went from 1 to 3%. And their interest rate went from in the mid-7s to over 9.6%. And the only reason was this cycle, this trap. They did what a lot of real estate investors did. They used their personal resources, their credit cards, to pay for the fix-ups to get these properties up to standard so they could get them rented. When they got them rented, they figured they could just refinance, but what happens when you use your personal credit cards, we see it over and over on flips, on BRRRRs, on rentals. People put a lot of their rehabs, their business expenses, even some interest and other expenses on those cards, drives up their balances, drives down their scores. When it drives down their scores, it does exactly what happened to this person. He went back to refinance, like I said, on a loan that's $210,000. And now he found he'd have to pay over $6,000 just in points for this new loan. So what happened by using his credit cards to get him where he wants, and he figures, well, I'm just going to get the loan, pay him off, my credit score will go right back up. That sounds very logical, but the lenders don't look at it that way. They look at what your credit score is now, not what it would be once you pay those off. So there's the trap. You use your credit cards, you use your personal lines to fix up a property, a flip or a rental. Then you either go to sell it and buy another property or refinance it, and you get trapped in this cycle of, well, you can't get the loan until your credit cards are paid off, so your credit score will go up so you qualify for a new loan, either for the flip or the rental. That was the case here. He actually qualified for a loan, but what happened with his credit score going up, it not only kicked his points and rates up, but it also brought his loan to value down. Because the lower the credit score does not just impact your rate, your points, or your costs, but it also impacts your LTV, especially in cash out. So he went from a 70% loan to value, which he could have got before on a cash out, to a 65%. So he's going to get less cash out to put into his next project. He's going to pay a lot more at closing, and he's going to pay over time on the higher interest rate. It's a cycle we see a lot of people just get trapped in. They keep going through this whole scenario. They go buy a flip or a rental. They use their personal credit lines, whatever it is, to fix them up, to get them ready, which improves the value of them. Then they go to refinance, so they're either going to get a higher rate or not qualify, or if it's a flip and they want to buy their next flip, they either have to wait or put more money into the next flip because their credit score is so low. So they get trapped. They get trapped every time they get involved because they're using their personal credit on business expenses. So it's a real live scenario. We see it in 70% of our people that their credit score is affected one way or the other just because of the personal usage. How do we help? What can you do? We gave him a $40,000 loan that is not reporting on his credit, that's secured by a piece of property, or he could have got a loan from a family member or friend that does not report. He pays off all his credit cards, or at least them down below 20%. In this case, he paid them all off. His credit score will then increase because usage is 30% of your credit score. The only thing larger than the usage on your personal credit score is if you don't pay them on time. And if you don't pay them on time, you're probably not going to get a great loan anyway. But what we see is most of our clients get trapped because they do pay on time, but they run up their credit scores. They max them out just to get a project done. So the cure, the fix, in a permanent fix, is get him a loan from us, from family, friends, whoever, that does not report for at least 60 days. Why 60 days? Because once he pays off his credit cards, and they all come in different cycles, which means different times the statements come out. That's when the credit cards report to the credit agencies. So it's not one specific day. It just depends on when the credit cards cycle. When you have multiple credit cards, that means it's going to cycle in different times. So in his case, we were able to give him the $40,000 to pay off the credit cards, plus another $20,000 to put down on his next transaction. Once his credit score goes up, typically 30 days or less, just for the whole cycle, he can get the DSCR loan with, instead of 3 points, a half a point. So even on a $210,000 loan, the 3 points were over $6,000 compared to a half a point, which is right around $1,000. Plus, over the life of the loan, saving about 2% on your interest rate. Right there alone, it's saving him thousands of dollars on the transactions. Plus, it gets him into a loan, because right now, it was hard to qualify. And his credit score went from just a little over 720 to right under 680. So it wasn't even that big a jump. It was a big enough jump to lower his loan to value, raise his costs, and raise his credit score. That all impacts your cash flow, what you could do in the future, and the amount of money that he could put into the next project. So how do we help, or how do we fix something like this? Like we said before, us or someone else offering a short-term loan to pay those off. Then he goes and does the refinance just like he wanted to and gets the 70% because his credit score is going up as long as nothing else has changed in his credit. Then the next step is for him to start moving those personal credit cards over to business credit cards. And when we talk about business credit cards, we're not talking about corporate cards where you have to start at Dun & Bradstreet and wait years. We're talking about business cards. The only difference between a business and a personal card is that it's in your business name. It still goes off your personal credit score, but it does not report on your personal credit. So going forward, as he uses those cards on different projects, it is not going to affect his personal credit score, which will then help him refinance and or get into the next project. So we're going to take him out of that cycle. We're going to pay off those credit cards. We're going to help him get a DSCR loan. And then we're going to get him in the right business cards, because there are business cards out there who still report to personal credit, like Capital One. Some of those credit cards still do that. We want to put him in a cycle where next time he's winning without going through all of these hoops and headaches by just setting yourself up right. Half of the battles here is just understanding and setting yourself up right, so you don't have to go through this time after time and wear yourself out. If you're looking at options to get out of this trap, we could help you with secured lines to pay off those credit cards. And we could help you with getting in the right business cards so this doesn't happen again. All of those things are just to make your life easier, your life more profitable as a real estate investor. Check out the link below, or just email us below if you want to work human to human. We are here to make sure you get the attention you need. Now let's keep the money train rolling, and we'll see you on the next video.